Oh, I'm laying in bed again. It's one of these bed vlogs. I'm aided by the nearby sounds of my dad's television as him and my sister rewatch episodes of Farscape. Well, it's a rewatch for him. It's a first watch for her. Good TV show, one of the only good shows that sci-fi ever made. It's the comedy and the jokes are great. All of the characters have wonderful, elastic personalities that mend well with the other characters on screen. Kind of like an episode of K-On! Kind of not. It came out before K-On! Came out, but I like it. It's a nice show. And you people, you fucking people. I think I'm having one of those coming to humanity moments. No, every time, I get one of these moments every now and again, where I think about what the hell, what the hell are any of us doing here? I mean, I'm a fucking retard. You can tell I'm retarded. So look at any of my videos. I'm retarded. Like, this is just clear. I've made this abundantly clear. I've made myself the butt of many jokes. Don't pretend that I think I'm smart, because I don't. But there are certain things that I look at, and maybe I'm too dumb to get them. I don't know. I've gotten in multiple arguments about these things. I've considered just about every point of view you can have on it, and I still look at them and I just am confused. There are certain things that I'm just really confused about in this world. Let me give you an example of one. As I don't understand why people care so much about everything. People are anxious about everything. People are worried about everything. It's like everything is a threat. Everything can bother them in some way. I get it. I'm a paranoid guy. I have paranoia. Ooh, paranoia. I have paranoia. But it's like almost everyone you talk to is worried or disgusted by or weirded out by something, or has some kind of view on something that's considered conventional but doesn't really make sense. So let me give an example. I don't understand why people wear clothes. Why? Why do you care? Why do you wear clothes the places that you go? I don't get it. Is that there, on some level, there's like, oh, the children can't see other people being nude and this kind of stuff. Why? Why? Why does it matter that the children seeing other people being nude is a bad thing when they themselves have those body parts and will at some point see those body parts later on? It's why Japanese families take baths together. It's because the body parts are totally natural. It's just a normal part of being alive. Why do you care? Why do you care, my friend? I find it strange. The other thing, why do people not have sex with their friends? I used to. As a wee star, I used to frequently exchange nude photos with friends of mine. It was just like a thing we did. I didn't see a problem with it. And we would have most likely had sex with each other, uh, given a proper area in which we were near one another. Problem was is that we weren't around one another. I mean, thinking about it now, I'm kind of glad that we didn't, just because I have more wizard cred for not having sex, and also it seems like it would have been a lot of effort for something that, okay, it's a new experience, doesn't really mean much to me, but I don't understand why people are opposed to the idea. Why not? Why not? It's there seems to be that, like, people have fetishizations of certain ideas. People put more meaning onto certain ideas than they're actually worth. Like let's say you have one copy of a video game. This is your copy of a video game. This is my copy of a video game. This is my original copy, you know? This is a copy I grew up with. I I played this copy when I was a kid, and this is the entire history of my time with this game is shown through the 30 or so years that I have of it. Sure, the physical item has a semblance of meaning in the fact that it is a physical item. There's a certain feeling that you get from playing a game cartridge on an old TV that it's meant to be played on. There's a certain feeling to using the authentic controllers and putting it in and out that isn't just nostalgia, but fundamentally alters the way that the game is played. And okay, that's a fair argument, but why is it that you have to hold your original game? Why is your original game significant? My original copy of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and all these other Zelda games that were on a compilation disc with my GameCube, I sold off. I sold off a couple years ago as a test to myself in order to get rid of the feeling or the putting of value on that physical item, because I had spent many, many nights playing that game with my brother, and it was some of the only positive memories I had with him was that game. That specific, or at least that's how I saw it, game with that box and, you know, the label being what it was. I saw that game as my window into that time period. But I can remember it just as well. I can remember most of those things. Having the physical item, doesn't really matter so much. Maybe I get another copy of it to play the GameCube version, but having that specific version didn't really mean anything. That airy nostalgia that I had associated with that particular item didn't really exist. It was inside of my head. I ascribed to it those emotions. And yet, I felt them so strongly when I got rid of it in order to get my Nintendo Entertainment System, which I've gotten far more hours of and far more memories out of than I ever did that one copy of that compilation of Zelda games. But in the moment, for a few days even, I think actually for couple weeks, it really bothered me, the fact that I got rid of that game. Maybe even a few months, I don't know. I would randomly think about it at times and it would kind of bother me. I did that with physical items that I lost that had some kind of significant meaning that, you know, were around for a long time when they'd go away. Oh, that hurts, it's gone. But by getting rid of that, in order to get that Nintendo Entertainment System, I was doing it as a test to myself. It was a way of training my brain into this idea that sentimental value wasn't something that I should believe in, that it was a fundamentally irrational emotion to put stock into. And I furthered this later on with my obsession with data, is that I love archiving data, YouTube channels, my own personal experiences, images, these kind of things. And the way that I got over this, I actually recorded a vlog at the time, was I took my Windows XP, Windows 7 computer. It was running Windows 7. It was supposed to be running Windows XP. And I had, at that point, years of memories that were in the computer. Unrecorded vlogs, lots of pictures, memories, these kind of things. There was quite a bit on that machine. The machine was very slow running. I was starting to run out of space, and it was running its course. The computer felt like it was breaking in some sense every day. Every new day there was some kind of error that I didn't have before, and it was getting worse. The computer was not in fair shape. I had to put Linux on it one way or another. I had the option of backing up everything, but I seized the random ass opportunity of my computer being in disarray and me just being in a Discord call that night to get the instructions from my other schizophrenic friend, and the other of the first being myself, to get the down low on how to make a USB ISO for Linux. And so I got Lubuntu, the lightweight version of Ubuntu. I put it on that stick, and I erased everything on that computer, which I had had for quite a number of years, and amassed a large digital archive of things that I'll just never get back now. Songs that I had written, vlogs I had recorded but never released, ideas that I had written down, notes for various shows that I had been watching. So many things. It's just gone now. I'll never get that stuff back. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that I'm never going to get that stuff back. But at the time, it hurt. It hurt quite a bit to know that I was actively going through that process. But afterwards, when I recorded that video, it was tremendously liberating to know that I had gotten over a lifelong hurdle that I had been under of wanting to archive absolutely everything and feeling terrible when things weren't archived. How do you think I would have felt when all of Mumkey Jones' videos were removed from YouTube if I hadn't taken that very radical step of forcing myself to be in a situation in which a lot of important data was removed from my life, never to be seen again? I am never getting those files back. I'm never getting that game back. I'm never getting back any of the things that I've taken away from myself intentionally in order to starve off those emotions that would have been there had I not done that. You need to do certain things like that. You need to cut off the proverbial goat's head in front of the child to prevent it from... Okay, well, maybe that's a bit too much. There are certain things I don't think we should feel. Certain irrational things that exist within our psyche that we do, that we shouldn't feel. I consider life to be a constant battle between what is real or logical. Real is a pretty spooked term to be throwing out here. I consider it a battle between what makes sense within a logical framework and what is emotional. We should be constantly trying to carve away at and get rid of the emotions, to make the emotions an afterthought, something that's just not there, to continually chafe away at them. And sometimes we can try to justify our emotions through science that we've reinterpreted ever so slightly to match our agenda. Sometimes we can search for, a random factoid that, may or may not be disputed, but works within this emotional context with just this right amount of information I choose not to see, in order to justify what I already feel. I think to be alive, we have to be constantly questioning not just ourselves and the things we do and what's around us, but questioning the very questions we put forth. That's what it's about. Always. Always. And right now, I'm hearing a kid. I'm hearing a kid knock at the front door and press away at... What is he pressing away at? Pressing away at the ringing bell. Pressing away at the ringing bell. My father is talking to the neighbor kid. My father is talking to the neighbor kid on the intercom that comes with the camera ringing bell. We have cameras outside of our house that keep track of things, do intake, this kind of thing. It's a camera bell, camera ringing bell that he's talking into. It's nice, isn't it? The walls in this house are so thin, don't you think? It's like I can hear everything all the time. That's the fundamental lesson. These are the things I've had to learn. Is that when you care too much, you suffer. When you believe in things that don't ultimately have logical ends, but you don't do anything to stop the feeling, you don't do anything to counteract the feeling, to get it out of your system, to move it away, you end up ultimately suffering. If you can cut off many of the emotions that don't have a place, don't have a function, don't have a use you could do without in the long term, the things that essentially make us human in so many imperfect ways, if you could cut those things out, there'd be so few things to worry about. So few things to scare, bother, upset, or make you sad. Do you know what kind of life that would be? I always did like the Stoics a lot. And people have this perception that the Stoics were like masochistic. They were destroying their own lives. And to an extent this is correct. I'm not a Stoic. But the fundamental precedent within their philosophy the fundamental thing that there are some feelings we should simply let go of, because ultimately they cause us more pain than it's worth, is beautiful to me. Imagine a world without desires. That's always the Buddhist ideal. I'm no Buddhist anymore. But there was a time in my life when I looked over and over and over Buddhist literature, thought, philosophy. I wanted to be Buddha. And that was one of the integral parts of their philosophy, was that everyone could be a Buddha. If you just let go of your wants and your desires, if you sat in the mountains each day, tending to your garden, living on the scraps that you can use to get by, without electricity, without friends, only studying the texts. I'm talking about documentaries like Amongst White Clouds, where these monks, their entire lives were dedicated to spiritual enlightenment, to the abolition of pain, in which the greatest possible pains that they could experience simply brushed over them as if they were non-existent because of how far they had gone in their own spiritual development. These core tenets of what differentiate humans from animals, I think, are the ones we should follow. The ones we shouldn't follow are when we look down in the toilet and we see our excrement and we feel disgusted from having looked at it, when we spit into the jar, and when we attempt to put it back into our mouth, we gag at the disgust of what is essentially in our mouths at all times of day. These natural biological processes are normal. We do them every day. They're always there. But we're terrified of them. The moment we look at them, we want them to go away. We want them all to go away. Because of what is essentially human. And that is weakness. I think these antipsychotic withdrawals have been making me feel pretty weird. It's kind of messing with how I've been coherently thinking lately. I think my mind is going in a number of directions at once, but I know that after this video is produced, I'm going to agree with it regardless. YouTube, there's many people who could be potentially watching this video. I said 2, it could be 200. In fact, most of my videos get 200 views. Those of you watching this video may think my presentation is a bit extreme, but I would agree with the opinion nonetheless how it's presented. I think people care too much. They care too much about everything. These essentially human desires, the human constructs that we wall around ourselves are gross.